Hey, welcome. And we are live. Welcome, guys. Oh my goodness. Yes, I am dressed up for this live session. I'm dressed up for this live session. All right, guys. Welcome. Welcome, guys. Hey, welcome. Yes, I'm all dressed up. Hopefully, a few people can join me here. Yeah, welcome. So, yes, I am dressed up and ready for this live. So, welcome, guys. I'm gonna be here just for 30 minutes and hopefully we can get this done. So, welcome. I see you guys. So, I'm live on both my YouTube and my TikTok, whichever place you're watching me from. So, I'll be glancing my screen back and forth just to see what's going on. Hi, welcome. Yes, my day is going pretty good. And I hope your day is going well as well, or either your morning. Welcome, everybody. My name is Claudine, and today I'm dressed up. I'm dressed up for this live because we are celebrating APP's week, Advanced Practice Providers Week. So this includes nurse practitioners, PAs, physician assistants. Yeah, thank you so much, everybody. So if you can tap on those like buttons, I'm not sure what's going on with this over here, but hopefully I can get it situated. Welcome, guys. So as you can see, I am all dressed, and this is a special week. This is a special week for us APPs, Advanced Practice Providers, because we are celebrating this week, this journey that we've come through. And if you're meeting me for the first time, welcome. My name is Claudine. I am a nurse practitioner by profession. And I can tell you a little bit about my education background. Oh my goodness, pardon me. This over here. Okay, I see what's going on with it. I don't know what's going on with it, but it keeps tipping over. Let me see. Welcome, guys. Don't mind me. I'm just trying to fix this here. Oh, there it is. All right, welcome. So my name is Claudine. I am a nurse practitioner by profession. And depending on where you are, you may be familiar with nurse practitioners or not. But I'll introduce myself, a little bit about me, and so you guys can get to know me. Why are you? It's 7 p.m. here. Oh, I'm in Texas and it is 9 p.m. Okay. All right. No, I cannot play a song, but we're gonna go ahead and talk over here. Hi, Nomora. Oh yeah, I will say hi to her. Yes, that's my baby sis. All right. So A little bit about me. My name is Claudine. I am a nurse practitioner by profession. So whatever I have that I'm wearing on here, this is my doctorate attire that I wore 4 years ago. Yeah, so this is 2021 when I was hooded with this as Dr. Onsongo. There's a little bit of fights over the doctor title, but you know what? We're not gonna go into that. Once you earn your degree, you've earned your degree. Nobody's gonna take it away from you. I'm a nurse practitioner by profession, so a little bit of educational background. I started here in 2007 as a CNA, certified nursing assistant, and from there I enrolled into LVN school. And in 2009 December, I graduated with my LVN. From there, I took a spring break. Not really a break, but I continued doing my prereqs on my RN, and then I proceeded on to my LVN RN. In 2011, yes, 2011 May, I graduated with my RN, and then went straight into my RN BSN. So I pretty much just had the summer off. And then I proceeded on straight to get my RNBSN, which I completed in 2012. No, I'll take the back. Yeah, I completed in 2012 summer. Oh my goodness, I'm losing track of time. 2012 April. Yes, 2012 April. So from there, I took a break from school and continued with my career as working as a nurse in long-term acute care. Some of you may be familiar with long-term acute care, some of you may not be, but long-term acute care kind of harbors the sick of the sick who require ongoing care but are not able to be in a hospital setting. Sorry guys, I don't know what's going on with this here, that it just won't stay still. It keeps tipping over and it's just bothering me. Hopefully that stays on. Anyway, so I proceeded on. I was working in a long-term acute care hospital. So this is where we have all those sick people, like long-term vent patients, long-term tube feeding, those who are ready to get off the regular hospital setting, but are not so ready to go home. So this is where they are, long-term acute care hospital, also known as LTAC. So I worked there for a little over a year. I'll back up a little bit. So my first experience as an RN was working in a skilled nursing facility, which gave me a very good experience. Not super busy, but also not super slow. A very good environment for learning, which after I completed my BSN, that's when I moved on to the LTAC, because BSN was one of the requirements. Like I needed to have my BSN to work there. So in 2013, I started applying to graduate schools. First, my goal was to go to anesthesiology school, but then I didn't have that ICU experience. And looking into getting into ICU, I first tried to apply to transfer to one of the sister hospitals where I was working, but then I couldn't. For whatever reason, they kept denying my transfer. And that was the only way really for me to get into a real hospital setting and hopefully work my way up to ICU. But then my application wasn't just going through for transfer. So I ended up staying in this LTAC. After 3 to 6 months of contemplating, I finally decided, you know what, let me just go into NP and do that. At the time, there was an NP who was working at one of the facilities where I worked, and she was so nice. She was from Ethiopia, if I remember well. So I talked to her and she encouraged me. She was like, let that not be your obstacle. You have different options. So just make your choice and see which one you want. If you have time to keep trying, you can do that. Otherwise, you can go the other route of just NP. So I looked at that. I looked at my life at the time. I was married, but still I didn't have a child yet. So I decided to just proceed and go into NP school. At that moment, I started applying to NP schools, but then I became pregnant. And of course, I had to reconsider my decisions and ask myself, am I ready to venture into this journey? And of course, I told myself, yes, I can do it. And as long as you put your mind into doing something, you can do it. I shared with maybe like 2, 3 people who I thought were very close friends, but the level of discouragement was just super, super high. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna zip it. I'm not gonna tell anybody that I'm in school. I'm gonna just keep doing my job, working and going to school, working and going to school. I finally had my first child, May of 2014. And then I started school August of 2018, of 2014. And let me tell you one thing. We drove 4 hours, no, 6 hours. Was it 6 hours? Yes, we drove 6 hours to go for orientation with a 3-month-old baby in the car. And I can tell you that wasn't easy, but we did it. My husband was there with me and our baby. At the time, she was just 3 months old. So anyway, I graduated with my master's in acute care gerontological nurse practitioner. This was 2017 when I graduated. But before I graduated, did I tell you that I had my second baby the summer of 2017? She's a July baby. So you can imagine. This was in the middle of my education. Like things were just super, super tough that time. But I kept pushing through because I knew what my ultimate goal was. This thing is driving me nuts. Oh my goodness. Let me see if I can get this on the other side. I don't know what's going on with this. It keeps tipping over. Hopefully it doesn't tip over till it drops my iPad. But anyway, we'll keep going. So I finished my graduation and I started working a year later. And one thing I want to point out is that I was able to land a job a few months after graduation, after passing my boards. I passed my boards in February, but then I got a job offer in March. I did not take the job. And this is because I wasn't promised mentorship. I wasn't promised good orientation. And that's one of the things you don't want to set yourself up for, especially working in an advanced position. If you're not going to get that, then you're setting up yourself for failure. And you don't want that. So that's one of the reasons why I never took up this job. It was within, the schedule was good, but the other reason why I didn't take it after they wouldn't promise me mentorship was the fact that when I was there for my interview, one of the directors had to leave the room twice for a code blue. And the facility where I was going to work was an LTAC. So you can imagine, if you know what LTACs are, long-term acute care hospitals, they have the sick of the sickest. Is that even a term? The sick of the sickest? Yes. So they have those. And it was just so discouraging for the fact that they said, oh yeah, there's an MD, but it's like a tele availability. So the MD is not even there with you to like, okay, let's say you tell the MD, oh, this is what I feel. about the patient. This is what I can hear based on my lung sounds assessment. The MD is not even there with you at the moment. The, the MD is not even there with you at the moment to answer your questions. So their decision will be based on what you tell them. And how about if you're not telling them the right thing? Of course, we are humans. Sometimes you may not be sure of what you're doing. And that's where you need a mentor to be there with you. So I ended up not taking this job, but finally I got a job a year later. And that's where I've been working for the last 6.5 years. So just to give you a couple of tips on how I made it this far. So first thing first, of course, make sure you have a plan in place. Of course, plans are meant to be adjusted in whichever way. Yeah, so I'll answer your question here in a minute, Moscow. And because I'm also trying to hold this iPad in place. I'm not sure what's going on with my iPad, people. My iPad keeps tipping over. But, okay, I'll have to hold it like this a little bit. So first thing you have to do is to have your plan in place. Having a plan is very, very beneficial. So whether it's a plan in terms of relationship, family, finances, what you're going to do during these 3 to 6 years when you're in school for your BSN. I say 6 years because sometimes you might decide to go for CRNA. That's an extended education content, because when you're in school for CRNA, you're not going to be working. If any, it's probably going to be just part-time. And mainly when you're doing your basic foundational courses. But once you start the clinical content part of it, you're not going to be able to work. So having a plan in place is very important. The other thing is finances. Of course, you have to keep paying your bills. You have to do other things like taking care of yourself, paying for your tuition. When you're going to be paying for your tuition, are you taking out a loan, or do you have some savings in place? Are you going to benefit from your family? Some people are lucky to have family members who can pay up their tuition, just like that. So that's another thing you have to plan on. Before I proceed too far, let me not forget the question. Moscow asked, I'm doing a BSN. I'm doing a BSN. I want to become a nurse practitioner. What specialty would you advise? So this is very broad. One thing I know for sure is try to find what your passion is. There's so many specialties for nurse practitioners. So things like pediatrics, neonatal, women's health, acute care, adults, acute care pediatrics, adults primary, family nurse practitioners, psych. So there's so many specialties. One thing you would really do is try to explore and see what your passion is. If you like psych may be your option. If you love dealing with babies, but you also love dealing with their parents, then family may be your option. If you just want to do babies, then pediatrics. If you want to do the little ones, less than a year, then neonatal is your way too. If you want to do mom's wellness, pregnancies, then women's health. So just see what your passion is and explore. Leave your options open until you find what you like. But at the same time, this is going to be a basis for you when you are getting ready to apply, because you don't want to go all the way through working in psych for 2 years and then you want to go into women's health. It's not going to work because you won't have that foundation you need, okay? So making sure you align your passion with your background, okay? I hope that answers. Oh yeah, I do psych as well. Monica, yes. Psych is one of those things that it's either you love it or you hate it. And let me tell you a little story. When I started working in my current environment, I never liked psych at all. A year, 2 years into that, I fell in love with it, and because I saw a lot of psych patients who I was mainly seeing for the medical side. But because of that experience with them, I felt so much in love with psych to the point that I decided going back for my postgraduate in psych certification. And this year, I got this in 2021, and I promised that was my last degree I was getting. But then, oh, psych came around, and I just fell in love with it. Dopamine. I don't know about having more money. Actually, psych is listed as one of the specialties that's highly paid. And that can go in different ways. In terms of payment, there's different things that are factored into a salary or into a wage, your years of experience, uh, the region where you're working. If you're working inpatient psych versus outpatient, inpatient you're gonna make more just because it's a different setting. There's more acute people in there compared to when you're working outpatient. It also matters if you are working weekends or days. Weekend people make more. Of course, this goes with even those other specialties. So definitely there's a lot to factor in. But yes, there's money in psych. But it's one of those things that you just don't do for money. Psych can really wear you down emotionally because you're dealing with people um, who are very emotionally challenged, and you have to have that thick skin because half of the time, some of them, it's not like they do things intentionally. You should be able to absorb it in. So if you're not in that moment, if you're not able to do that, sometimes it can turn out to be a waste of degree. So yes, definitely always looking for options to see what your goals are, and the possibility of tapping into different options. I don't know if I'm making sense with that, but yes, definitely having to pay a collaborating physician, and that's true. And unfortunately, some states still have that. I'm not sure how many states are now full practice capable. I believe the last one was Wisconsin, which happened maybe a few weeks ago. I am in Texas and we are still solid red. Like there's even no waivers on those who've practiced for so long. It's still solid red. You need a collaborating physician all the time. So that definitely affects the amount you make. So let's say you're paying a collaborating physician 500 to 1,000 per month. And some even pay way more than that. So definitely that affects the amount that you put back into your pocket, or you put back into your account, or you reinvest back into your business. So yes. Kansas is one of those with full practice authority. Kansas, I think there's like 20 something states right now. And I'm hoping one time, Texas will get there too. It's a dream come true. I know we've gone to the state capital several times, but we've signed petitions. But where? Oh my goodness. No. They are still blocking it. And it's unfortunate that even with the collaborating physicians, some of them you don't even get to see them, but they are there. They're there in case you're asked a question, who is your collaborating physician? Then at least you have somebody in the books. So definitely, yes. So welcome guys. If you're joining me, I'm just talking about Advanced Practice Providers Week. And I am here for a few more minutes. So let's proceed talking about how to make it through your graduate school. So we've talked about planning, we've talked about finances. What the next thing I want to talk about is self-care, which is something I'm very, very passionate about. I don't negotiate when it comes to my self-care. Self-care is like my second beating heart. Mm, mm. Me and self-care, we are buddies. So that's one thing I don't negotiate about. And yeah, so when we look at self-care, it's very, very broad. It spans from nutrition, sleep, rest, um, mental health part of it. So mental health, where you limit your stress level. Of course, when you're in school, it's difficult. Let's assume somebody's in school. You're a mother, you're a wife, you have to work to make ends meet. Of course, it's gonna come with a baggage of stress. And I'm reminded of one of the nurses I watched on TikTok not too long ago, who was she put up her schedule on how she was working nights, gets off at work at 6, at 8 o'clock she goes for a clinical, still 5, and gets back to work at 6. And I looked at that schedule for the whole week and I asked myself, how are you even functioning? Because there was no time for her to rest in between. Like there was nothing. So from between 6 and 8, I'm assuming that's just time for her to get home, take a shower, change, and head back out. And between 5 to 6, when she gets off, it's probably just going straight to work. So our bodies are not meant to function like that. We are meant to rest. We are meant to take care of ourselves, because at some point, this is going to catch up with you. Okay? So making sure you take good care of yourself. Self-care is mandatory. However strong we are, we have to rest, because that's what's going to rejuvenate our energy. So self-care, finances, planning. And then the next thing I want to talk about is having a mentor. Having a mentor. Let me see if I can. Oh, this thing is driving me nuts. All right, give me a second. Let me see. So I'm just fixing this thing. It's been bothering me for some time. I don't know if that's even making it any better. Okay, I just feel like just holding this thing and proceeding on. Anyway, I'm almost finished here. I don't know what's wrong with this. One of the ends came loose and it's now just tipping over on me. All right. So I was talking about having a mentor, somebody you can turn around and talk to, because this journey in healthcare can be very, very stressful. I've been in healthcare for, man, I even lost track of time. But the first time I walked into healthcare was in 2007. And I can tell you it was a culture shock. And up to now, I've made it to the point that I'm working as a nurse practitioner. And I can tell you that having somebody who can work with you in this journey is very important, whether it's a colleague in the same facility or whether it's somebody somewhere who understands what you're going through. Because the amount of stress and the amount of burnout in this sector is not easy. And I think I did a video and posted in my YouTube channel. By the way, my YouTube channel is Life with Claudine. No. Oh my God, I changed the name not too long ago. Yes, it's Life with Claudine. So if you can follow me over there, I do post long form videos over there. And one of the videos I posted not too long ago was about burnout and why nurses are leaving bedside nursing. So the exodus of nurses who are leaving is very, very high. And it's even gonna get worse. Unfortunately, with the way healthcare is working right now, it's gonna get worse. And you can tell by the number of nurses who are coming from outside countries to come and work in the US. I'm from Kenya. We do get nurses come from Kenya. We have nurses who come from other countries like Nigeria, Philippines. These are nurses who are coming to fill the gap because the amount of work that's there is more than the available resources. So nurses are leaving. People are leaving bedside nursing. And it's because of the burnout, lack of support from staff. Um, yes, Monica, yes, that's true. Actually, I know a lot of people who've come through work visas from other countries. And I can tell you these are amazing nurses helping to fill that gap because a lot of people are leaving bedside nursing and I don't know how it's gonna be. I've a couple of yeah, so just ask me for what do you call it? Send me an invite. Let me see if I can figure this thing because it's driving me and I have to hold it so it can stay in place. Yes, so a lot of nurses are leaving bedside because of burnout, because of all that. Oh, is that you? Oh, there. Yes. Hi. Can you hear me okay? Your volume is a little low.
Okay, ngoja niongeze. Nakusikia. Ni aje, mama?
Hapo poa. How are you?
Good. I'm Dunia, you know.
Yeah.
I'm in the profession that you are in. So, congratulations, by the way. I'm so proud of you to
Oh,
see you
thank
there.
you. Yeah, I figured let me wear this to celebrate APP's week.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah, even though it's getting hot, I'm like, I need to take it off. But yeah,
We're proud of you. Congratulations.
thank
Oh,
you.
so
And thanks for being a supporter, by the way. I do appreciate.
tunafurahia when we see one of us out
Yes.
there doing her thing and all that. So, najua ulikuwa you are talking sorry to interrupt you,
No,
but
you're good. Go ahead.
you were talking about leaving the bedside stuff and maybe going to outpatient and stuff.
Uh-huh.
So what is your advice to people, like kama umekuwa NP, what do you advise, what do you do yourself? Yeah,
So
if you're not comfortable with any question, that's okay, just say pass.
no, that's okay. I'm very happy to share my experience as a nurse practitioner. So right now I work in corrections. Doing so a little about me. I'm dual certified in acute care and psychiatry. So I work in corrections, doing the medical side, but then I do psych on the side part time. In my private practice. So right now I'm going to venture fully into psych, hopefully, and not really fully into psych. I'm like in between. So I'll probably be doing medical, but I'll also be doing psych. But one thing I want to say is let's follow your passion. Follow your passion. There are people who are more comfortable doing bedside. There are people who are more comfortable doing outpatient. My initial goal was to be in bedside, which I still, up to 3 years ago, I still worked as an RN, picking up part-time shifts through agency, just for that experience, because I do love the one-on-one encounter with patients. So that's the piece that I'm missing as a nurse practitioner. But everybody's different. If I get the opportunity to get back to bedside as a nurse practitioner, I will go back, honestly. I will go back just to experience it a little bit. But at the same time, I love what I'm doing right now because it's kind of inpatient, but it's also outpatient. I don't know if I'm making sense. But what I can tell you is figure out what's working best for you in terms of schedule. So with inpatient, bedside, let me use bedside versus inpatient. So for bedside, you can do nights, and that is not an option when you're working outpatient. And if you're somebody who's looking for life balance, you don't want to do weekends, you don't want to do nights, then outpatient is the best. And even with acute care, you can still do specialty clinics and still get the same experience because some of them still give you the option of even going to the hospitals to see patients and still come back. So it all depends on the specialty as well. Uh, so let's take an example of family practice. So family practice, most likely it's gonna be fully outpatient without inpatient option. Up to a couple of years ago, family nurse practitioners were able to work inpatient, which ended up a couple of years, maybe 2, 3 years ago, unless somebody went back to school for acute care. So yeah, I don't know if I've answered your question.
Yes, thank you. I know somebody down here said, "How did you do it?" I'm burnout. So, what was that question? Like, how did you went back to school while you're working, or how did? I didn't even understand her question down there when she said I'm burnout and whatever.
I'm burned out with BSN degree, but I know I can achieve more. Yes. Oh, so seems like this person has a BSN
See,
degree.
one of
Soulful
us.
body. Seems like that person has a BSN and thinking of maybe going back to achieve more, but already burnt out. And that's the thing. That's why a lot of people, oh my goodness, this, sorry, I'm holding my laptop because it keeps tipping over. Yes, so a lot of people are burnt out.
Thank you, by the way, for having me because I don't really, I normally don't talk about mine.
Uh-huh.
I just napitanga to
No,
right
no,
here.
no, it's okay. Actually, I love this engagement. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
yes. So
maybe
if
will give us maybe me being here will give us more to be engaged more and asking each other questions because me I'm double certified as well, but I appreciate you coming up with your platform and telling us how you did it because we want all of us to get there to achieve one another.
exactly supporting each other, that's the goal. That's the goal. That's why I'm using this platform to share my experiences and to just see how I can help people, how I can answer questions. Because sometimes somebody wants to know more, but just a source of information is what's lacking. So the more we share, the more we learn from each other, and the more we can help each other make decisions. Yes. Yeah, so I was answering the question for this person. So this person seems to have their BSN, but they're now burnt out. Because most of the time, the burnout starts from bedside nursing. Let's be real. Med-surg. Med-surg can burn you out like real bad. And the other thing which I always say, which can help, it's every facility is different, is that always making sure you take your breaks. That's one thing I don't negotiate with. Even when I worked bedside nursing, I always made sure I took my break because that break is not just for you to go sit and eat. It's to help you decompress. You're probably having a long, difficult day. Let's say you started your shift 6 a.m. and it's already 11, 12. You haven't stepped out. And some people will continue going. Even where I work right now, I see people who don't take breaks. And I'm like, no, you need to step away. You need to step away and just get that energy you need. Go sit down, even if it's just for 30 minutes. Rest, relax, and come back. When you come back, you're ready emotionally, you're ready physically, and you can continue with your job at the moment, right? So, burnout is there everywhere, but it
Yeah.
all depends on how you handle it, how
And
you
then
handle yourself to prevent it.
everybody's lifestyle is different. There's some people who cannot do nights, and I'm one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Nights is not for me. And she said I graduated 2 years ago. work and masters is scary. So I don't know what state you're in. So it depends with the states. Nowadays, like most of these master's degrees are doable because I would say for me, I went to Chamberlain University
Mm-hmm.
and I had to find my own preceptor, which was very taxing. I used to email people, every kind of platform I use. So first of all, you need to know like what school are you going to? Are you gonna need a preceptor? Is this an online school? Do you have a support system? Because sometimes living alone, you have kids,
Yep.
you we don't know your life, but it's very doable to go back to school
Mm-hmm.
and work at the same time because we're only working 3 days a week. For me, I could not do nights because I felt like I was sleeping more. I was so tired. I never rested. Even though I was working 3 days, I felt like I never rested. So I chose to work Friday, Saturday for almost 3 years. I never saw church. I never see anybody on the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So that I would be, and I did travel nursing because, like, if you travel more than 50 miles, so I would go Friday to a place like 2 or 3 hours away, go work. And then on Sunday, I drive back home. Monday through Friday, Thursday when I'm home, I'm doing my homework. That's how
Yes.
I did
Yes.
myself. So
Yeah.
I never saw, even I left, I remember when I was doing that, I left even a small child. She was like 2 months. My mom would take care of the baby. So it's
Yes.
doable.
It
Yeah.
is doable. And when I started giving about my information to, when I went back to school for my MSN, I had a 3 month old baby. And you can imagine how that was. And talking about support, yes, that's one of the major things that you have to have. Whether it's your spouse, whether it's your family member, whoever you can have for support is definitely gonna help you make it much easier. Like me, I had my husband, I had my baby sister, so this was much easier for me going back to school with a 3 month old baby and then having my second one halfway through my program. Like I literally had my baby, my second baby, and 2 days later I had to take a urology test. So yes, it is tough, but it is doable. Yeah, and as somebody saying here, Renaissance, I can't do nights either. That's true. Even me, my first job as an RN, I did nights, and that time I can say I was single and I really didn't have any responsibilities. But right now with kids and all that, and the fact that my sleep pattern is very very bad during the day, it's like I am a walking zombie. So working nights has not been easy for me either, but it gets to the point where some people it's only nights that they can do, while other people all they can do is day shift. So yes, lifestyle really matters, support system matters. The other thing is also planning, having a very good plan in place. Like, let's say you are given a schedule. How do you want to do it? Personally, when I went back to school, my school had an option of the foundational classes. You could do them either full time or part time. I went the part time route because I knew my situation. I knew I had a little baby at home. I knew I still wanted to work, and I knew the time frame that I wanted to finish this with. So, of course, I was able to do 2 classes at a time instead of 3. So this pushed my program to 4 years instead of 3 years. And I was fine with that because I wasn't in a hurry. At the same time, I wanted to make sure while I'm in school, I don't feel so overwhelmed. So that worked perfect for me. Some schools may not offer that version of part time because even my school, after you started the major classes, like the specific program classes, you couldn't go part time. You had to do the didactic part of it plus the clinical part of it together. So yeah. Oh, this is so nice.
Yeah. So for me, like, Chamberlain is a very organized school. When I was there, the only problem is you can't find preceptors. But per se, I took full time myself. It took me about 2.5 years to do that. So you take one class every 8 weeks. Yeah, I think it was one class every 8 weeks. Maybe sometimes I used to double because the classes initially were easier for me.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're doing good on the first one or two classes, they let you double if you're doing well.
Okay.
So that was doable for me to do that. And for those of you who are scared to do masters, I don't know for you, Dr. Claudine, but for me, doing masters was the easiest thing that I ever did compared to doing my BSN. My BSN really threw me off.
Mm-hmm.
It took me out of character. It took away a lot of the things that like it took away my time from family and all that. But masters was the easier one. I don't know for you,
Yeah.
but for me, yeah. So me, like the school that I went to, the way they did when you're doing your masters,
Mm-hmm.
you start with the easier classes, and it's like you're building a child from when they're wakitembea, kutambaa, kusimama. By the time you're finishing your last year, you're writing your whatever the paperwork, the last paperwork,
Mm-hmm.
you will have learned how to write that paperwork at the end of the day. So, but you start small, and by the
Yes.
time you, yeah.
Yeah,
So it
and
wasn't
that's the
hard.
beauty with MSN, with graduate school. Let me put it that way. And I've had a couple of people say that graduate school was much easier than undergraduate.
It was. It
And
was. I
I
noticed
can
it
also
in
attest
Ghana.
to that because going to school for my undergraduate, because I started from LVN, it wasn't
Mm-hmm.
easy. Like I was only able to work Saturday, Sunday. The rest of the time, it was all about reading, reading, dragging behind all these big books. But also, other thing that I can say mainly, most likely made graduate school much easier was having had that experience. And that's the other thing, too. Having experience as a registered nurse is very, very important. It gives you the foundation. By the time you get to graduate school, you already know the medications. Your focus is going to be mainly on how do you utilize them as a nurse practitioner, as a provider, because you already know the beta blockers, right? So it's just building on that versus when you're starting fresh, you're a CNA, you don't know the medications. When you're a CNA, all you do is like patient care. But when you go to school for, let's say, you're undergraduate, this is like all new information, all new. It's like they're speaking Greek. So by the time you're done, you realize that, I had to relearn all these things. Like I had to learn fresh information. Versus when you are doing your MSN, you already know your classes of antihypertensives. You already know your classes of psych medications. All you're doing is just building on them. That's why there's emphasis on making sure you get that experience as a registered nurse. Some schools will push it and say you don't need it, but for your benefit, I will definitely recommend it. Some schools are different, and some schools right now are like pushing people um, to just finish. But by the end of the day, it is you who's going to suffer. So making sure you get that experience is going to make your education much, much easier, right? Yes.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Thank you so much. So we talk about how people can handle, because I know that's a very big obstacle for a lot of people. Like, how do you do it? And I will tell you, to be honest, me, I sacrifice a lot of things. So you gotta. I think I sacrificed. Like I told you, I was working Friday through Sunday. You sacrifice your life. You don't go parties. You don't go. Hold on.
Yes, that's true. Even me, I'm a Seventh Day Adventist, so we go to church on Saturdays. And how I worked my schedule out, I I worked at a place that had self scheduling, and the expectation was to work every other weekend, so every other Saturday, Sunday. But there are those who wanted to do just Saturdays, and there are those who wanted to just do Sundays. I was fine doing Sundays so I can have my Saturdays off to go to church. So I worked Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and then I did my clinicals Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And I had my Saturday free to go
Right.
to church. And in the
Right.
afternoon, I would catch up with my assignments. And that worked perfect for me all the time
Yeah, I
that.
knew you had a person. You say you had your partner, you had your husband helping
Mhm.
you. So that was good. You had a support system.
Yes,
But
yes, very
yeah, but
definitely.
some of us we did not. So at least she's giving you the part of the support system.
Mm-hmm.
Some of us, me, when I was doing my first masters, my FNP,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have a support system. My mom came later. She came and helped me when I was so down. She would
Mm-hmm.
see me taking my kids to daycare, going to work, going to school, and she was like, "How are you doing all this?" You know,
Yes, yes,
it
and
was hard.
that's
And
uh-huh.
yeah, I did my first degree when I was pregnant, my second one when I was pregnant, and I ended up being not living with the person, just doing it alone. It was hard. So, but like I tell people, even my nieces when they came here, I told them, do me a favor. Just I want you to sacrifice the first few years of your life, not have a life, and sacrifice everything, having a life, all doing all this messy stuff. And then later, once you get your money, you can do whatever you want. You can go anywhere, you
Exactly,
can go
yeah.
have fun. That life will not go anywhere, it will wait for you.
Yes, and that's the thing. And unfortunately, some people don't have support. I was fortunate enough, but I know people too who didn't have support. Like, I can recall somebody I went to school with that we were in class, and her nanny just called her and said, "Hey, I'm leaving." She has two little kids that the nanny was taking care of, and you can imagine the stress. She was a single mom and she was depending on this nanny. And here the nanny tells her she's leaving. She is in class learning and she has to leave to go watch her kids, not knowing who's going to watch her kids the following day. So having that support system is very important. And if you don't have it, starting early can also help. Yes. As you mentioned about your nieces and all that, it's very important to get as much as you can as early as you can when possible. Let me see if we can answer a couple of questions here. And thank you guys so
Yeah.
much for all the
Can
likes,
I
all
ask
the
you what's
follows.
your specialty? I think you say you are acute care and psychiatry, right?
Yes, yes.
So she
So my
has a
first
DNP.
degree was acute care, and then I went back for postgraduate psychiatry. Um, so, hey, will you recommend an MSN without being a nurse? I'm an engineer, but I casually applied for MSN. So I'm assuming you're talking about the what do we call it? Direct entry. Honestly speaking, those who go through direct entry without any healthcare experience do struggle.
Not having an RN. Is she talking like without having an RN? I don't think is that possible?
It
You
is
have to have your
possible.
RN.
It's possible where they talk about a second degree, but from
Master of Science in
experience,
Nursing.
from experience, they do struggle because they don't have that background. So if
Right.
you can even get into healthcare in whichever way, paramedics, and then go through that way, it kind of exposes you to some of the things that you see in healthcare. Oh, Unbroken, thank you so much for the gifts. So how much for the DNP? Ma'am Keep, I'm not sure what you're asking. Like how much did I pay for tuition or how much is the salary for DNP? Um,
Yeah.
the other one, oh, school fees. It depends on the school. The school that I went to, it's a private school, but I did get some incentives that were giving me 20% back by the end of the first month. Yeah. So that kind of saved me some money. Okay.
Yeah, me, I went to Chamberlain. I took loan. I'm just sometimes I pay for it because I think like I remember, I think Chamberlain the time I was there, you pay 32,000 a year. So if you're able to pay, like I know, like somebody was saying, like, how do you do it? How are you able to make the money? I'm speaking from experience from the single people. Like when you are in school, when I was at Chamberlain, I did travel nursing because travel nursing I was able to save money from being taxed. I was able to like provide for my family being a single person and to do everything without having a second person to help me. So that's travel nursing over the weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. For me, that really helped me a lot
Yeah,
because
and
I
with
had
travel
family
nursing
in
too,
town.
the pay is much better compared to
Yeah.
bedside
And you don't
nursing.
have to go out of state to be a travel nurse. I used to live in North
Exactly.
Carolina. I used to live in North Carolina back then, but I would go like I would live. The city that I live in was they had the hospitals were like 51, 52 miles away. Travel nursing, they required you to go over 50 miles for them to pay you for that, so that they don't tax you, so that you can do that travel nursing period. People will come out of state, but I never did that. But for the whole time I was doing it, me, I would drive either 1 hour, 2 hours. As long as it's over 50 miles, it's the same, like there's no difference in pay for you as somebody else coming from other state. So that really helped me not to be struggling in school.
Yes, and I believe they have that in Texas as well, where they now give you those, what do they call them? The house incentives?
Incentives.
Yes,
Yeah. Hey, that who save taxes, my friend. It saves you a lot of money.
it does. And that's the thing that some people are not aware of. They believe that for traveling nursing, you have to drive several miles out. But that's not the case. Like,
Actually, for the BSN, if you already have your RN, I remember the school, like, when I'm giving examples for the place that I've been. So I used to live in North Carolina. I know North Carolina, Wilmington takes people 6 months. I know Chamberlain has taken people almost 9 months, 6 months to get your BSN after you have your RN. Most of the schools, the least I think you can go is 6 months. A lot of these schools.
yeah, lately they have them in a shorter time frame than years back. I remember when
Yeah.
I went to school, it took forever. I felt like it took forever to get that
Yeah,
BSN.
some people it took them 1 year, but mostly nowadays people take people 6 months. As soon as you finish, yeah, as soon as if you really wanna do it faster, and we have people they go from. There's a lot of schools now. You can go from your RN or your associate RN, and you go straight to like you do BSN, and you like everything combined, including your everything all the way to DNP. My friend is doing the same thing. I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that actually that was my goal when I went to school, but because of some personal reasons, I had to like take a break and
Yeah.
continue
Yeah.
later. Yeah. So, what schools do you recommend for MSN? So, one thing which lately I see a lot of people recommending is try and go to a school that's within your state. Most likely, if it's within your region where you're living, because it's much easier to get preceptors. You're more exposed to people there, so it's easy to connect because preceptorship is one of the things that's really breaking this profession. A lot of schools admit all the students, but they don't provide for them preceptors, which makes it much difficult. Some people even end up taking time off because they don't have preceptors. Yeah.
On that part of the receptors, me, I'm a very aggressive person when it comes to connection. I'll tell you, I did mine during COVID. There were no preceptors. You have to be, if you go to, and the reason why I did these schools that didn't have preceptors, Chamberlain University per se, is because Chamberlain admitted me after when I finished my BSN in 2017, and as soon as I finished it, I wanted to go back to school because bedside, I couldn't do it. So I went back to school straight. Okay, so you have to when you're looking for preceptors, you go every side. I was on TikTok. I remember I texted people on TikTok. I went on Facebook, and most of my preceptors, 90%, I found them on Facebook. Like I would look for anybody that has to do with anybody around. I would look for people around that has the NPA and stuff around, and it would give me information, whatever for the office. I would drive. I would take the letters and everything, and I would ask other students. There were websites. There were groups on Facebook that had I had students doing whatever the master's program and looking for NPs for preceptors, and I was lucky to find most of my preceptors through Facebook.
Yes, networking.
Yeah.
Personally, I belong to, before I forget, as somebody here, Natasha, I'm in Texas. If you are in Atlanta, there's like local groups within different cities where you can connect with fellow
Yeah.
Kenyans. Hopefully that
There's a
helps.
lot of Facebook. Yeah, there's a lot
Yeah.
of on Facebook. There's a lot of groups you can join, and you just go and write. Like I'll tell you, I joined like hundreds of groups, and I just go and write and write. I email people when I see nurse practitioners, when I see doctors, and but let me tell you something. Do you know the people that really help me the most were the doctors more compared to the nurse practitioners?
I can't believe that. Personally, I was lucky. I was lucky. Love Shack says she stayed. I'm not sure if that's stayed out because couldn't get a preceptor for therapy. That's true, and I can see that happening. I did all my clinicals at the VA, and how that worked and helped me is I connected with a nurse practitioner in one of the groups, and she was willing to precept me. She was Nigerian, Dr. Chika. If you're watching, or I know you're not watching, but thank you so much, because through her I was able to connect with other preceptors within the VA. So she was like my primary preceptor. And then as an acute care, I had to do different specialties like neurology, emergency room, oncology, hematology. I had to do urology. And what else? There's one more specialty I needed to do as well. But the fact that I was already in the system, it was much easier for me to connect with these other preceptors, and she was able to help me as well. So depending on which specialty you're going for, some of the bigger institutions might be easier to connect with if they already have contracts with your school. Otherwise, just finding somebody who's willing to precept. And surprisingly, there are people out there who are willing to help. Of course, some people will charge you for money, which I feel like is very unfair. If I have that opportunity to give back to students, I will do it in a heartbeat without charging even a dime. But everybody's different. There are people who are charging, but some people don't mind paying for the money because it's
Yeah.
better you pay and get done with the
And
education.
save the time and save
Yes.
your time and save you headache. Some people pay it because of the headache. And
Yes.
if you are in North Carolina, around Raleigh, Durham area, if you need help, if you ever need help, I don't mind connecting you to my former preceptors. They were wonderful people.
Oh, you're in that area.
So
We have family
yeah.
in that area, and one day if we
No, I
come
used
over,
to.
huh?
Yeah. I used to live in
Oh,
North
you
Carolina.
used to? Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So if you're in that area, if you need help, please let me know and I will connect you. For psychiatry, I did my psychiatric rotation at Duke University. So I had people there. So if you need help with the psychiatry, I will. For the FNP, I can as much as refer you to Virginia and in around Raleigh, Durham area, around Fayetteville, I have people that really help me. So if you're interested and you're in North Carolina, Virginia, I don't mind helping you guys to connect you to those
Oh
people. They were
yeah,
wonderful.
yeah. You had that. So DM Dunia Dwara if you're looking for preceptors in that way. And thank you so much because that's one thing that people really struggle with, and some people um, some people prefer
To
to
save
help.
the what they
Yes,
have,
yes,
what they
yes.
know to themselves.
Hi Vincent, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Doing good, thank you.
How are you, Dunia?
I'm good, thank you.
Yeah, I'm gonna just add you talking about good things here. Yeah, I'm also an nurse. How is like I'm gonna ask you a question. How is about the? Just a minute.
Hey, the person in Washington, there's a lady from Kenya. Your place Karibu Nature Federal where there's a few Kenyans who have a lot of uh, businesses around there. So if you ever at a lazima wende shule in Washington, if you ever go to school anywhere and you need preceptors, I can refer you or I can show you whatever. You can look up their clinics, um, and they can help you. There's a Kenyan. She owns almost 5 clinics in Washington,
I think I
Seattle.
know the lady you're talking about.
Yeah.
What's her name? She was in my class
There
actually.
is Dr. Benedicta something. lady too. I normally see her on Facebook she's another group.
Oh,
So
okay.
yes, I have to look it up because it's a group that I follow on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but the other lady, she owns almost 5 clinics.
Yeah, I know.
Thanks, yeah.
Her name is it Mercy?
I have to look up the
Mercy
name.
somebody. She goes by Mama Njoki on social media. She was in my class.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There
she
are
was
a
in
lot
my
of
class for
Indian
DNP.
clinics in Washington, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so this has been amazing. Vincent, tell us a little bit about
I don't
yourself.
know. Even if they charge you $500, honestly, I don't mind. Even my preceptor, she never charged me, but I gave her some money.
Yes,
Like giving
that's
somebody who has helped me, like my preceptor, she, especially psychiatry. When I was at Duke, I never had more than 2 preceptors with my psychiatry. She was the only person. The only reason I had to look for my last preceptor is because I was looking for in a therapist.
okay. Yeah, for psych therapy, that's
$1,000. You use money to get money. That's how I survived in my life. Like you have to use money to get money for anything.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
And if it gets to the point that you have to pay, if you're in a position to, definitely, I would. Sorry, my I've been struggling with this thing. I don't know what happened to my son, and this iPad has been bothering me the whole time. Let's see. I think I'll leave it there. I'll leave it there for now.
Vincent, you had a question?
Vincent. Okay, Vincent.
So anyway, guys, so I know you answered a lot of questions about doing your RN program, and a lot of people would prefer to go to do the associate degree. Some people like me, I prefer to go straight to do the 4-year college. I feel like the 4-year was convenient for me because I didn't have to work that much so that I can get the.
Yes, based on the opportunities, looking back, if I had the opportunity to go straight into my 4-year, I will definitely do that because it turns out to be much faster, much less involving. Not really less involving, but much faster, I would say, because it's gonna be a couple of years of the prereqs and then the 2 years of the core classes for nursing. Versus if you go the ADN route, like let's take my scenario. I did prereqs for a year. I did LVN for a year. I did LVN to RN for a year and a half. And then I did BSN for a year and a half. So that turns out to be like 6 years because I feel like I started school in 2008, 2007, and I didn't finish my BSN until 2012. So that's 6 years, right? And I didn't really take breaks in between.
Yeah.
So definitely, if you have that option of going straight into
If you have
BSN,
the opportunity, especially like the young people who don't have children, you don't have a family, you are alone, I would recommend you go to a 4-year college. I would recommend you just look for a job. Like nilikuwa nafanya kazi ya 16 hours on a week. I used to work at the VA. So they let me work 16, Saturday and Sunday, 32 hours. That's full time. During the week, I go to school full time. So if you are able to go to a 4-year college, because anyway,